All everyone wants to talk about these days is Juan Soto. Where's he going to go? To the Mets? Back to the Yankees? Maybe join Shohei Ohtani with the Dodgers? Or rejoin his old Nationals teammates with Bryce Harper and Trey Turner? Maybe the Blue Jays? Or maybe, just maybe, the Red Sox could shock everyone and bring Soto to Boston. Who knows? But in this video, I'm going to go over 5 reasons why I think the Red Sox would be the perfect team for Juan Soto. Let's get to it. Before I get into my top 5 reasons why the Red Sox are a perfect fit for Juan Soto, I just want to go over an honorable mention, and that's the good history of Dominican-born players that played with the Red Sox. Now, I don't think it really weighs all that much, to be honest. Sure, it's cool that guys like David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, Pedro Martinez were legends with the Red Sox. It's fun to think about. It won't really hurt at all, but really when it comes down to it, that's not going to have really any major impact on any decision-making with Soto. Now, first and foremost, it's the money that Soto is going to be looking for. He wants an offer that he thinks is fair for the rest of his future Hall of Fame career. He wants to go somewhere where he can win. Those are the 2 things that are going to provide him the most happiness when it comes to the rest of his baseball career. And sure, yeah, having Ortiz and Pedro showing up at Fenway Park for the pre-games and the post-games won't really hurt at all. But if somehow, some way, he does end up coming to Boston, then I see that being more as icing on the cake. Let's start this off with where Juan Soto would be playing the majority of his career if he signed with the Red Sox. Fenway Park. Now, let's be real, Soto is going to be a great hitter wherever he goes, but I will say, if you put Soto at Fenway Park, I think you would actually see better numbers overall if he played there for half a season for the rest of his career. Now, when it comes to Soto, he's hit a fair amount out to dead center as well, hitting an above league average 38% of balls out to center field in his career, and he hits an average amount oppo in his career as well, going league average 24% the other way. Now, hitting up the middle and Fenway with all the nooks and crannies out there will surely result in a lot more hits and more home runs as well. In fact, he had a good amount of balls this year hit out to deep center that ended up being outs, like Yankee Stadium, where they have a pretty deep center field, but he would have left the yard at Fenway Park. Now, when it comes to hitting oppo, he would have had plenty of balls this year that would have either gone over the monster or at least off the monster for a double. Now, he just has so much power to all fields, including opposite field, that I think a park like Fenway with the monster, the nooks and crannies, is just a great spot for him overall. Up next, I have the future looks bright, and times have been tough for the Red Sox since they won a World Series in 2018. Sure, they were 2 wins away from getting back to the World Series in 2021, which I describe that team as the last gasp of the 2018 team, but for the most part, it's been very lackluster over the last few years. Not really much spending, minus a couple of free agents like Trevor Story, Masataka Yoshida, Kenley Jansen, along with a couple other low-key names like Justin Turner, making a trade for Tyler O'Neill. However, there just hasn't really been a whole lot of winning in the last few years. I personally believe a big reason for that is ownership hasn't really wanted to go crazy with the spending going over the CBT, while the farm system has been rebuilding since Dave Dombrowski pretty much emptied out the entire thing, helping put together the 2018 championship team. This past year, though, we saw a lot of growth down in the minor leagues, including Roman Anthony being named the #1 prospect in all of baseball by Baseball America, Marcelo Meyer continuing to make strides as a possible future star at shortstop, Kyle Teel showing good progress as a possible future catcher, a breakout year from Christian Campbell, who was named the minor league player of the year by Keith Law. They've even had some other guys ranked lower really step up this year, like Franklin Arias, Ghost Nixon Garcia, Hunter Dobbins, and Richard Fitz, who they got back in the Alex Verdugo trade last year. There's also some high ceiling guys that are still very far away, like Miguel Bleis and Yoelan Cespedes. Overall, Baseball America ranked the Red Sox at 9th overall in their latest farm system rankings, and when it came to Stuff Plus with the pitching, they ranked 4th overall. Out of all the teams in contention for Soto, like the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Red Sox do have the highest farm system ranking, and they're poised to get even better. When it comes to younger players already on the Major League roster, we've seen a lot of good things. Jarren Duran coming off a breakout season, and he has 4 more years of club control. Tristan Casas has had his fair share of injuries over the last couple of years, but he's an advanced hitter under 25 years old, and he's definitely capable of 30 to 40 home runs a season season. Wilyer Abreu had a solid rookie season, and he could end up being a valuable trade piece to help land a big-name starter for the rotation like Garrett Crochet. And speaking of the rotation, Tanner Houck is coming off a breakout year, and he has 3 more years of club control, while Brian Bayo has a lot of promise in the future. Overall, I think the Red Sox are in great shape for the future on the player development side of things. And reportedly, Juan Soto has been asking about player development in his meetings with teams, and the Red Sox have definitely shown a good history of player development, and they're still showing it now. Up next, there's the championship history under this ownership group. Now, earlier I said times haven't been really all that great for the Red Sox recently, but if you look at the last 20 years as a whole under John Henry and Tom Werner, it's been rather successful, breaking the curse in 2004, following it up with another in 2007 that saw young players contribute in a big way like Dustin Pedroia, Jonathan Papelbon, and Jacoby Ellsbury, piecing together another one that caught lightning in a bottle in 2013 and then just annihilating everyone en route to their title in 2018. All of these championships had a common denominator, and that was good player development along with a mix of spending and successful trades. To be able to put together 4 championships that were pretty spread out under one ownership group that took over in 2002 is very successful, in my opinion. I think it shows a lot of good things, including a continued commitment to winning, having the ability to be able to adapt to different times, and showing that you can have sustained success, not just on the baseball side of things, but on the economical side of things, considering the Red Sox have grown into one of the more profitable franchises in baseball and all of sports. Up next, he would be the face of the franchise. Now, when the Red Sox signed Rafael Devers to a long-term extension, people were thinking he was going to be the face of the franchise and a guy that would be the leader of the team. Now, I do think he is one of the leaders of the team, but when it comes to being a spokesman for the team, a true face of the franchise, Rafi, in my opinion, isn't really that guy, and he has shared that view in the past as well. He's more of a reserved guy that just wants to be elite with the bat, and there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. With Soto, though, this would be his team, just like it was with David Ortiz. Rafi would definitely be up there as well, but this would be Soto's opportunity of being the guy. In the Bronx, that title belongs to Aaron Judge. In Queens, that belongs to Francisco Lindor, especially after the monster season he just had. In LA, that belongs to Shohei Ohtani. In Philly, that's Bryce Harper. Soto would come in instantly and be the face of the franchise, which I'm sure would not bother Rafi in the slightest, as I think what matters to him is just being a great player. Now, my last and final reason is probably going to make people chuckle and scoff, but when there's a sense of urgency in Boston, the one guy that has answered the call over all these years is owner John Henry. Sure, like I've mentioned a few times already, times have been tough lately, but again, I do think that's been by design to let the organization catch up with the farm, as well as getting some money off the books, like Chris Sale last offseason, Kenley Jansen this offseason. Now, over the years, we've seen the Red Sox make big moves when the time is right. Based off how Henry's operated in the past, I think his formula when it comes to being aggressive in the offseason is this: have the payroll in a comfortable spot and preferably under the luxury tax, like right now, which sits almost $70 million under the CBT. I think he also wants to have the farm system in a good place that has both close to major league ready talent, like Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, Kyle Teal, Christian Campbell, Chase Maydroth, and others that'll be cheap and cost controlled when they do get to the major leagues, along with good depth in the minors, like Franklin Arias, Yoelan Cespedes, Miguel Blaze, that are further away. I think he also wants to have a young, talented core in the major leagues, which is cheap, like right now with Jaron Duran, Tristan Casas, Wilyer Abreu, and Ceddanne Rafaela, along with some established major leaguers like Rafael Devers and Trevor Story. A good example of this is when the Red Sox had Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, Rafael Devers, Andrew Benintendi, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Jackie Bradley Jr. in their arbitration years, which meant they were on the cheaper side, so that gave the Red Sox flexibility to go out there and spend on free agents. When all of this is in place, I think that's when John Henry thinks it's the right time to be aggressive and make big moves, both in free agency and trades. On the trade front, we've seen big trades for guys like Kurt Schilling to help them break the curse, trading a big-time prospect in Hanley Ramirez for Josh Beckett to help secure the 2007 championship, and trading 2 more big-time prospects in Yoel Moncada and Michael Kopech for Chris Sale. all of those massive trades had to be signed off by one guy, and that's John Henry. Now, when it comes to free agents, we've seen the Red Sox over the years be a bit more reserved, but they have shown the willingness to spend big when the time is right. The big free agent signing Red Sox fans will remember the most is Daisuke Matsuzaka. Now, if you're watching this and you weren't old enough at the time to fully remember what was going on, then my goodness, you missed out. If you think Ohtani and Yamamoto were big, go take a look back at how hyped up Daisuke Matsuzaka was, along with his gyro ball, the mysterious gyro ball. And everyone thought the Yankees were going to post the winning bid for the posting fee, but instead, the Red Sox outbid them by $20 million. They also landed JD Drew that offseason, along with a shortstop in Julio Lugo. It was the right time to have an aggressive offseason because they had a good young core of players coming up, like I mentioned earlier, with Dustin Pedroia, Jacoby Ellsbury, Jonathan Papelbon. In 2013, they had a solid core in place with Ortiz, Pedroia, Lester, and Buchholz, so they went out there and signed multiple free agents like Shane Victorino, Mike Napoli, and Koji Uehara to help put it all together. Go back to 2016 when they saw John Lester leave for the Cubs. They needed an ace to replace him at the top of the rotation, so they went out there and landed the best pitcher on the market in David Price. In 2018, they landed one of the best bats on the market in JD Martinez to help finalize that team to help them win a championship that year. There were even some big moves that didn't work out, like Carl Crawford, who they brought in on a massive contract after the disappointing 2010 bridge season. There were even a couple of big non-moves, like when he wanted to bring in Billy Beane to be the richest general manager in sports, and even going after Mark Teixeira, who ended up landing with the Yankees. So again, say what you will about John Henry in recent years, but he has the history of signing off on big moves, even if some of them didn't work out or he ended up missing out on. But there was an urgency with those moves, and when the timing was right, he would do it. It hasn't been a fun few years lately, but a Juan Soto signing would absolutely erase all of that while simultaneously setting them up for years. Another thing we got to remember here is he is 75 years old. Now, there's definitely some owners still around that are older than that, but maybe there could be the possibility that at some point in the next 10 years, he would like to sell the team. Now, reports came out in the last year that there's no intention of that, but who knows? Maybe that could change at some point down the road. Adding Soto would absolutely help increase the value of the team, both on and off the field. So if Henry were to walk away at some point, the Red Sox would definitely have more value if he were to sell, and he would be leaving the team in good hands, both on and off the field. But everyone, those are the reasons that I came up with why I think Juan Soto would be absolutely perfect for the Red Sox. What are some other reasons that you have for the Red Sox to bring in Juan Soto? But everyone, that's all I got for this video. If you can on the way out, hit that like button for me, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.